Technology was supposed to make our lives safer, more convenient. That's what I told myself when I installed the new smart doorbell system last winter. Working night shifts at the hospital as an emergency room nurse meant I was often worried about my wife's safety when I wasn't home. Little did I know that this simple security measure would unravel the life I thought we had built together over the last 8 years. The installation was straightforward enough. A few screws, some wiring, and a connection to our home Wi-Fi. I remember feeling proud as I showed Maria how to use the app, explaining how she could see visitors before opening the door and how I could check in while at work. She seemed less enthusiastic than I expected, attributing her reaction to not being tech-savvy. Now I understand her hesitation had nothing to do with technology. The first few weeks were uneventful. I'd get the occasional notification about package deliveries or neighborhood kids selling cookies. Sometimes I'd catch glimpses of Maria returning from her job at the real estate office or leaving for her evening yoga classes. It felt comforting knowing I could keep an eye on our home even during my 12-hour shifts. Then the late-night notifications started. At first, they seemed random. Motion alerts at 11:30 p.m., 1:15 a.m., sometimes as late as 3 a.m. I assumed it was cats triggering the sensor or perhaps some technical glitch. Maria suggested we might need to adjust the sensitivity settings, and I agreed. Looking back, I should have noticed how quickly she offered that solution. One particularly busy night at the ER, during a rare quiet moment around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed with another notification. Normally, I would have dismissed it, but something made me check this time. The footage showed a dark SUV pulling into our driveway, its headlights dimming but not completely turning off. A man emerged from the driver's side, someone I'd never seen before. He moved with the confidence of someone who'd been there before, walking directly to our front door without hesitation. My heart nearly stopped when Maria opened the door, wearing the silk robe I'd given her for our last anniversary. There was no surprise on her face, no confusion about a stranger appearing at our door in the middle of the night. Instead, she welcomed him with the kind of embrace that only lovers share. They disappeared inside, and the footage ended. For the remainder of my shift, I moved through my duties like a ghost, checking patient vitals and administering medications on autopilot while my mind raced through months of memories, looking for signs I must have missed. The late yoga classes that had started 6 months ago. The new phone she'd insisted on buying, claiming her old one wasn't working properly. The sudden interest in taking extra listings at work, requiring evening showings of properties. When I returned home the next morning, everything looked normal. Maria was preparing breakfast in the kitchen, humming softly as she flipped pancakes. My favorite breakfast, though I'd lost my appetite for them forever. She kissed my cheek, asked about my shift, and mentioned she'd be showing a luxury property that evening. The performance was flawless, practiced. How many mornings had I watched this same scene, believing in its authenticity? Over the next week, I became a silent observer of my own life's destruction. The SUV appeared 3 more times, always on nights I worked. Sometimes the man would stay for hours. Other times it would be a shorter visit. Each time, Maria would greet him with the same familiarity, the same intimacy that was supposed to be reserved for me. I began noticing other visitors too, not just the SUV man. There was a red sports car that showed up twice, driven by someone younger, probably in his early 30s. Once, a motorcycle appeared, its rider spending barely 30 minutes inside our home. My wife wasn't just having an affair. She was living a completely different life during my night shifts. The footage accumulated on my phone like evidence in a crime scene investigation. Each notification felt like another nail in the coffin of our marriage. I found myself watching older recordings, torturing myself with glimpses of their secret meetings, trying to understand when and how our relationship had derailed so completely. I discovered that the SUV man was a regular client of hers, someone whose property portfolio she managed. The sports car belonged to a mortgage broker she frequently collaborated with. The motorcyclist remained a mystery, perhaps just another player in her hidden world. Each revelation felt like a fresh betrayal, a new wound that wouldn't heal. The hardest part was maintaining normalcy during our overlapping hours at home. I continued to kiss her goodbye before my shifts, listened to her stories about difficult clients, and even helped her prepare for an upcoming real estate convention, all while carrying the weight of what I knew, what I saw every night through the lens of our doorbell camera. One morning, after a particularly difficult shift dealing with a car accident victim who didn't make it, I found myself sitting in our driveway at dawn, staring at our front door. How many times had that door opened to welcome strangers into our home? How many lies had crossed that threshold threshold, the same door I'd painted last summer while Maria held the ladder, both of us laughing about my fear of heights. The decision to confront her didn't come from anger or a desire for revenge. It came from exhaustion, the kind that seeps into your bones and makes it impossible to carry on pretending. I waited until she returned from a supposed evening showing, the doorbell camera having already shown me it was another meeting with the SUV man. I sat her down and silently played the footage on my phone. Weeks of late-night visitors, secret embraces, and betrayals, all captured in high-definition clarity. She didn't try to deny it, didn't attempt to explain or justify. Instead, she cried. Not the tears of regret or remorse, but tears of relief, as if finally being caught had lifted a burden from her shoulders. The truth spilled out in waves. The affairs had started almost a year ago, born from what she called the loneliness of our opposing schedules. The SUV man had been first, a wealthy client who had shown her attention during late-night property viewings. The others had followed, each filling different voids she claimed existed in our marriage. She spoke about feeling invisible during my long shifts, about the excitement of secret meetings, about the thrill of managing multiple relationships, like she managed her property listings. The divorce proceedings were surprisingly civil, perhaps because the evidence was so irrefutable. The doorbell camera footage made any denials impossible, though Maria never tried to contest anything. She moved out within weeks, leaving behind the security system that had exposed her double life. I kept the house, unable to sell it despite the memories it held. Slowly, I began to rebuild my life. I switched to day shifts at the hospital, recognizing that the night schedule had taken more from me than just my marriage. The doorbell camera remains, now serving its intended purpose of actual security rather than revealing painful truths. Sometimes, late at night, I still get notifications, but now they're just cats crossing the driveway or late-night delivery services. Each alert no longer carries the potential for heartbreak, though it took months before I could check them without anxiety flooding my system. This experience taught me that technology can reveal truths we're not prepared to face, but it can also provide the clarity needed to make difficult decisions. The same camera that showed me the end of my marriage also gave me the strength to walk away with my dignity intact. For those of you watching who might recognize signs of infidelity in your own relationships, remember that confronting the truth, however painful, is better than living with uncertainty and doubt. Modern technology has made it harder to keep secrets, but perhaps that's not entirely a bad thing. Sometimes the hardest truths lead us to better places, even if the journey there feels impossible. If you've experienced something similar, or have your own story of how technology revealed unexpected truths in your relationship, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who's going through a similar situation. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more real-life relationship stories, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on new uploads. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember, the truth always finds its way to the surface, even if it comes through a doorbell camera